He ordered food delivery at 11 p.m. after a long study session. The Dasher arrived in 15 minutes, handed him the bag, and left. But when he checked his phone, the order was still showing out for delivery, and the Dasher was texting him from inside his house. Mike Chen rubbed his tired eyes and checked the time on his laptop screen, 10:47 p.m. He'd been coding for the past 6 hours straight, surviving on energy drinks and sheer determination to finish his operating systems project before the midnight deadline. His stomach growled loudly, reminding him that he'd skipped both lunch and dinner. Again. Okay, fine, he muttered to himself, reaching for his phone. Just something quick. He opened DoorDash and scrolled through his usual options. Thai Palace was closed. The burger joint would take 45 minutes. But Chen's Kitchen, his go-to Chinese place, showed a 15-minute delivery time. Orange chicken and fried rice, he said to his empty studio apartment, placing the order. Story of my life. What Mike didn't know was that someone had been waiting for this exact moment. The order confirmation came through immediately. Your Dasher Jake is preparing your order. Estimated delivery, 15 minutes. Mike went back to his coding, grateful for the brief break. His apartment was small but efficient, a studio near campus that cost more than he could really afford, but the location was perfect for late-night food runs. At exactly 11:02 p.m., there was a knock at his door. Damn, that was fast, Mike said, saving his code and walking to the door. Through the peephole, he could see a delivery driver in the standard DoorDash gear, red bag, baseball cap, looking down at his phone. Nothing unusual. Mike opened the door. Mike? That's me, Mike confirmed, taking the bag from the driver's hands. The driver, Jake, according to his name tag, was probably in his 30s, average height, kind of forgettable face. He smiled politely and handed over the food. Enjoy your meal, man. Have a good night. Thanks, you too. Jake walked away down the hallway, and Mike closed the door, already opening the bag to check his order. But when Mike checked his phone 2 minutes later, he saw something that didn't make sense. The orange chicken smelled amazing, and Mike was halfway through setting up his food when his phone buzzed with a DoorDash notification. Your order is out for delivery. Jake is on his way to your location. Mike stared at the notification, confused. He looked at the food spread across his desk, then back at his phone. That's weird, he muttered, opening the DoorDash app. The tracking map showed a little car icon moving through the streets, apparently still heading toward his apartment. Estimated arrival time, 8 minutes. Mike refreshed the app. Same thing. According to DoorDash, his food hadn't been delivered yet. Must be a glitch, he reasoned, taking a bite of orange chicken. These apps are always buggy. But then his phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. Hey, this is Jake, your DoorDash driver. I'm having trouble finding your apartment. Can you help me out? Mike was about to discover that some glitches are more dangerous than others. Mike looked at the text, then at his food, then back at the text. This made no sense. Jake had already delivered his food. He'd spoken to the guy face-to-face 10 minutes ago. He typed back, "You already delivered it." "I got my food." The response came immediately, "No, I'm still looking for Building C. I'm in the parking lot but I can't find the right entrance." Mike walked to his window and looked down at the parking lot. It was mostly empty except for a few resident cars and, there, a Honda Civic with DoorDash stickers, sitting under one of the streetlights. "What the hell?" Mike whispered. He texted back, "Are you in the blue Honda?" "Yeah, that's me." "Where's your building entrance?" Mike's hands were starting to shake slightly. He'd definitely received his food from someone claiming to be Jake. So either there were two Jakes, or something very strange was happening. But the texts that came next would prove this wasn't just a simple mix-up. Mike decided to call DoorDash customer service. While he waited on hold, another text came in. "I think I found the right building. I'm coming up to floor 3 now." Mike lived on the 3rd floor. But he hadn't told the texter his floor number. Never mind, found your door. I'm right outside. Mike's blood went cold. He crept to his door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was completely empty. Another text, why aren't you answering? I'm knocking but you're not responding. Mike hadn't heard any knocking. But as he watched through the peephole, he saw something that made his stomach drop. The door handle was slowly turning. What Mike discovered next would reveal he'd been living under surveillance for months. Mike quickly engaged the deadbolt and chain lock, his heart pounding. The door handle returned to its normal position. His phone buzzed. Okay, I'll just leave the food by your door then. But Mike could see through the peephole that no food had been left. The hallway remained empty. Another text, food delivered. Thanks for using DoorDash. Mike's customer service call finally connected. DoorDash support, this is Maria. How can I help you? I think there's been some kind of mistake with my order, Mike said, trying to keep his voice steady. My driver says he delivered my food, but I already received it from someone else. Let me check your account. Okay, I see your order from Chen's Kitchen. It shows as delivered at 11:03 p.m. by Jake R. Is there a problem with your order? No, the food is fine. But I'm getting texts from someone claiming to be my driver, saying he's still trying to deliver it. But the customer service rep's response revealed something terrifying about Mike's delivery history. That's strange, sir. Let me check. Oh, this is interesting. You've had Jake R. as your driver for your last 15 orders over the past 2 months. Mike felt the room start to spin. That's impossible. I order from different restaurants, different times of day. There's no way I'd get the same driver that many times. I'm showing Chinese food, pizza, Thai food, burgers, all delivered by Jake R. Always to your exact address, always completed on time. Mike pulled up his own DoorDash history on his phone. Maria was right. Going back through his orders, Jake R., Jake R., Jake R. Every single delivery for the past 2 months. How is that possible? Mike asked weakly. I'm not sure, sir. That does seem unusual. Would you like me to? Mike's phone buzzed with another text from the unknown number. Thanks for the tip, Mike. I know exactly what you like to order. See you next time. But the photos that came next revealed Jake had been watching Mike far longer than just delivery times. Mike hung up on customer service and stared at his phone as more texts came in. By the way, you left your bedroom light on again. You should be more careful about electricity bills. Mike looked toward his bedroom. He had left the light on. Another text, also, you might want to get that cough checked out. You've been coughing a lot while you work late. Mike had developed a slight cough over the past week from staying up too late in the dry apartment air. But how would a delivery driver know that? Then came a photo. It was Mike, sitting at his computer, taken from an angle that suggested the photographer was somewhere inside his apartment. The timestamp showed it was from 3 days ago. Mike was about to discover that Jake had been living in his apartment building far longer than anyone realized. Mike grabbed a baseball bat he kept by his bed and searched every inch of his studio apartment. Behind the shower curtain, under the bed, in the tiny closet. Nothing. But when he moved his desk to check behind it, he found something that made his blood freeze. A small hole had been drilled in the wall, barely noticeable unless you were looking for it. And it was positioned perfectly to give a view of Mike's computer setup, his bed, and most of his living space. Another text arrived. You're a good finder, Mike. Most people never notice. Mike called 911, but while he waited for the police, more photos came through his phone. Mike sleeping. Mike eating previous DoorDash orders. Mike studying late at night. All taken from inside his apartment, spanning back weeks. The final photo was the most disturbing, Mike opening his door to receive food delivery. But it was taken from behind Mike, from inside his apartment. The police discovery would reveal that Jake had turned Mike's building into his personal hunting ground. When the police arrived, Mike showed them the hole in the wall and the photos. Officer Rodriguez, a veteran who'd seen everything, looked genuinely disturbed. "We need to check the walls in the adjacent apartments," she said into her radio. This might be part of a larger surveillance operation. The investigation revealed that the apartment next to Mike's 3B had been vacant for months. But when they entered with the landlord's key, they found it fully furnished and clearly lived in. "Jesus Christ," Officer Rodriguez breathed as they explored Jake's hideout. The walls were covered with photos and detailed notes about multiple tenants in the building. Mike's section was the most extensive, but there were at least 6 other people being watched. But what they found in Jake's bedroom would prove this surveillance was just the beginning of something much worse. Jake's bedroom was a shrine to his projects. Detailed schedules of when each tenant ordered food, what they liked to eat, their sleeping patterns, their daily routines. But the disturbing part was the graduation wall. Photos of previous tenants with red X's marked over them and dates. Sarah K. graduated March 15th. Tommy M. graduated January 8th. Lisa R. graduated November 22nd. "What does graduated mean?" Mike asked, though he was afraid he knew. Officer Rodriguez was already on her radio calling for backup and requesting missing persons files. In Jake's desk, they found detailed plans labeled collection protocols with step-by-step instructions for transitioning subjects from observation to procurement. Mike's file was marked ready for collection November 1st. Today was October 30th. The basement discovery would reveal the true horror of what graduation meant. Following building blueprints they found in Jake's apartment, the police discovered that Jake had been using the building's old service tunnels to move between units undetected. In the basement, they found a room that wasn't on any building plans. Inside were personal belongings from the graduated tenants. Sarah's jewelry, Tommy's wallet, Lisa's phone. But no bodies. "Where are they?" Mike asked Officer Rodriguez. "We're working on that," she replied grimly. But Jake's notebook provided clues. The graduated subjects had been relocated to permanent housing at various addresses across the city. Addresses that, when checked, turned out to be abandoned buildings, empty lots, or places that didn't exist. Mike's phone buzzed with a message that proved Jake was still watching. While police processed the crime scene, Mike's phone lit up with a text from Jake's number. "You've made this much more complicated than it needed to be, Mike." Officer Rodriguez grabbed the phone. "How is he still texting?" "We have his device." They looked at Jake's phone, sitting in an evidence bag. It wasn't active. Another text to Mike, "But don't worry. I have backup plans. I've been preparing for interruptions like this." Then, check your food. Mike's blood went cold. The orange chicken he'd eaten an hour ago. The food, Mike gasped. The first delivery. What if he drugged it? But Jake's backup plan was far more sophisticated than simple drugging. Mike started feeling dizzy, but it wasn't from drugs. The room seemed to be shifting slightly, like looking through water. "Officer Rodriguez," Mike said weakly, "something's wrong with my vision." "Ambulance is en route," she replied, but her voice sounded distant. Another text arrived. "The chemical in your food isn't harmful, Mike. It just makes you more receptive. Easier to relocate." Mike's apartment began to look different. The walls seemed farther away. The door looked like it was at the end of a long tunnel. "It's a mild hallucinogen combined with a hypnotic agent," Jake texted. "You'll walk out of your apartment voluntarily, and no one will be able to stop you. You'll want to find me." Mike could feel it starting. An overwhelming urge to leave his apartment and search for Jake. To finish what they'd started. Fighting the chemical influence would require Mike to confront his deepest fears about technology and trust. "Mike, stay with me," Officer Rodriguez said, but she was speaking as if from another room. Mike's phone buzzed constantly now with directions. "Leave your apartment. Turn left. Go to the stairwell. I'm waiting for you." But Mike was a computer science major. He understood systems, and he understood that the best way to fight a system was to overload it. Instead of following Jake's directions, Mike started doing the opposite of everything the texts told him to do. Turn left, Mike went right. Go to the stairwell, Mike sat on the floor. Come find me, Mike closed his eyes and focused on staying exactly where he was. The chemical was fighting him, making his body want to obey the commands, but his logical mind kept overriding the impulses. But Jake had anticipated resistance and had one final card to play. Mike's phone screen changed. Instead of text messages, it now showed a live video feed. "Hello, Mike," Jake said, speaking directly to the camera. He was in what looked like a warehouse, surrounded by makeshift living spaces. "I want you to meet some friends of yours." The camera panned to show Sarah, Tommy, Lisa, and 3 other people Mike recognized from the building. They were all alive, but they looked different. Compliant. Like they were sleepwalking. "They're happy here, Mike. They don't have to worry about rent, or school, or jobs, or any of the stresses of normal life. I take care of everything." "They're drugged," Mike managed to say. "They're free," Jake corrected. "Free from the anxiety of choice, free from the pressure of independence. I provide structure, routine, purpose." Mike realized he wasn't just Jake's target, he was Jake's replacement. "You see, Mike," Jake continued, "I've been doing this for 3 years now. But I'm getting tired. I need someone younger, smarter, more tech-savvy to take over the operation." The camera focused on Jake's face. "Your computer skills, your attention to detail, your understanding of systems, you're perfect for this role." Mike's phone showed new text, "Join us willingly, and I'll let the police find the others. Resist, and they stay here forever. That's why I've been studying you so carefully. Learning your patterns, your preferences, your psychological profile. You're not just a subject, Mike. You're my successor." Mike looked around his apartment at the police officers, who seemed to be moving in slow motion due to his altered perception. The choice Mike made next would determine the fate of everyone Jake had collected. Mike realized that Jake was right about one thing: he did understand systems. And this entire operation was a system with vulnerabilities. "Jake," Mike said to his phone, "you made one mistake." "What's that?" "You taught me how your system works by making me part of it." Mike opened his laptop and started typing rapidly. His altered perception actually helped. He could see the code more clearly, think more laterally. "While you were watching me, I was unconsciously learning to watch you back. Every delivery, every photo, every text, it all created a digital trail." Mike was hacking into the DoorDash system, tracing Jake's fake driver accounts, following the GPS coordinates embedded in the photos Jake had sent. But Jake had built safeguards into his system that Mike was about to trigger. "Very clever, Mike," Jake said, his video feed showing him typing on his own computer. "But I've prepared for this possibility too." Suddenly, Mike's apartment filled with smoke. Not from a fire, but from some kind of chemical dispersal system Jake had installed in the walls. "Sleep gas," Jake explained calmly. "Everyone in your apartment will be unconscious in about 90 seconds. Then I'll come collect you personally." Officer Rodriguez was already stumbling, reaching for her radio but moving too slowly. Mike held his breath and kept typing furiously. He was so close to finding Jake's location. 80 seconds, Mike. Mike's vision was starting to blur, but he'd found it. Jake's warehouse was an abandoned food distribution center on the outskirts of the city. With seconds remaining, Mike had to choose between saving himself or saving Jake's other victims. Mike could send Jake's location to police, but he'd pass out before he could transmit it. Or he could use his remaining consciousness to trigger Jake's system against him. 60 seconds. Mike made his choice. Instead of sending the location to police, he used Jake's own delivery tracking system against him. He created a fake emergency DoorDash order from Jake's warehouse location and marked it as "driver needs immediate assistance, medical emergency." The system would automatically dispatch emergency services to Jake's exact location. 40 seconds. Mike also triggered every fire alarm and security system within a 10-mile radius of the warehouse. Even if the gas knocked everyone out, help was already coming. Clever, Jake admitted, watching Mike's screen remotely. But it won't matter. I'll be gone before they arrive. But Mike had one final surprise that Jake never saw coming. As consciousness faded, Mike activated one last program he'd been working on for his computer science project, a virus that would spread through any network Jake's computer touched. The virus was simple but effective. It would broadcast Jake's location, photos, and full confession across every social media platform, news outlet, and emergency service in the city. 20 seconds. Mike collapsed, but his laptop kept running. The virus spread through Jake's system like wildfire. Within minutes, Jake's face and location were trending on Twitter, broadcast on every local news channel, and sent to every police station in the state. Jake couldn't run because everyone in the city knew exactly what he looked like and where he was. The rescue that followed would reveal the true scope of Jake's operation. Mike woke up in a hospital bed 12 hours later. Officer Rodriguez was sitting beside him, looking exhausted but relieved. "You did it," she said simply. "We found them. All of them." Jake had been arrested at the warehouse, surrounded by FBI agents who'd been alerted by Mike's viral broadcast. The 6 graduated subjects were alive but would need extensive psychological treatment. How long had he been doing this? Mike asked weakly. At least 5 years, in multiple cities. You weren't his first building. We're finding surveillance setups in apartment complexes across the state. Mike's phone buzzed with a text. For a moment, he panicked, but it was just his roommate, saw the news. "Are you okay?" But Jake's arrest revealed a network that stretched far beyond one apartment building. Over the following weeks, the investigation uncovered that Jake was part of a larger operation. Other delivery drivers in other cities had been running similar surveillance and collection schemes. "It's like a franchise," Officer Rodriguez explained during one of Mike's follow-up interviews. Jake wasn't the mastermind. He was middle management. The real organizers were still out there, and they weren't happy about losing their most successful operator. Mike received a package 2 weeks after Jake's arrest. Inside was a new DoorDash driver uniform with a note, "We're always looking for talented individuals. Your technical skills would be valuable to our organization." No return address. No signature. Mike's decision about the job offer would determine whether he became a victim or a hunter. Mike stared at the uniform for a long time. He could report it to the police, try to stay safe, hope the organization forgot about him. Or he could do what Jake had never expected, use the system against itself. Mike created a fake identity and responded to the offer. "I'm interested. When do I start?" The reply came within hours. "Welcome to the team. Your first territory will be downtown campus area. We'll provide training materials and target lists." Mike forwarded everything to a joint FBI police task force that had been formed to investigate the delivery surveillance network. "You want to go undercover?" Officer Rodriguez asked when Mike proposed his plan. "They targeted me because I understand systems," Mike said. "Let's use that against them." The operation that followed would reveal the true scope of the modern surveillance state. 6 months later, Mike's undercover work had helped identify and arrest 17 members of the delivery surveillance network across 4 states. But the operation revealed something even more disturbing. Legitimate food delivery companies had been unknowingly facilitating surveillance by not properly vetting their drivers or monitoring unusual delivery patterns. Mike's testimony before Congress about gig economy surveillance vulnerabilities led to new regulations requiring background checks and GPS monitoring for all delivery drivers. But late at night, when Mike ordered food delivery to his new apartment, which he swept for surveillance devices weekly, he sometimes wondered how many other Jakes were still out there. And if you're wondering whether Mike's paranoia was justified, 3 months after the congressional hearing, Mike received a text from an unknown number. "We know where you live now, Mike. Thanks for the new address." But this time, Mike was ready. His apartment was equipped with his own surveillance system, and he had FBI contacts on speed dial. The text continued, "Just kidding. This is actually Officer Rodriguez. "We got a new lead on the network and need your help again." Mike laughed with relief, but then noticed something strange about the message metadata. It had been sent from Rodriguez's phone, but it was also showing as delivered to 17 other numbers. Either Rodriguez was texting multiple people about the same case, or someone had hacked her phone to send messages that looked like they came from her. Because in the age of digital delivery, you never really know who's watching, who's tracking, or who's pretending to be someone they're not. And every time you order food delivery late at night, remember Mike's story. Check your delivery history. See if you're getting the same driver too often. Pay attention to what your dasher knows about you. Because sometimes the person bringing you dinner isn't just delivering food. They're delivering surveillance. And the next message you get might not be about your order status. It might be about your collection status.